I run a project called Backstage. This is the new beta website for it. And as part of what we do at the BBC, Backstage is about trying some of the things that the BBC normally wouldn't do. We kind of take the risks that a big corporation would be pretty scared to do. So if I just switch down here, one of the projects we worked on recently was a thing called R&D TV. R&D TV is a collaboration between BBC Backstage, which is us, and another part of the BBC called RAD Labs. RAD is Rapid Application Development. And as part of that, we decided to create a show. The show is called R&D TV, as you guess, and there's a 5-minute version, and there's a half-an-hour version, and then there's a thing called the Asset Bundle. Now, I won't go into too much detail because, unfortunately, it was all on the other laptop, but if I could show you the website, if I can remember what it, was it Control? No. Oh, Max. Where's that? Oh, there you go, sorry. So, is it this one? Yep, cool. So, if I've got good memory, that should work. Please work. So basically, the whole point is that we created this show, and there's nothing special about creating the show, but instead of kind of going at it by just creating a show like we normally do on for most BBC productions, we completely came at it from the point of view that this show is going to be completely shared. Now, if you're in media, what you normally do is you kind of script it out. You hire your actors, your actresses, you get your camera people, you get your production crew. All this stuff happens. Now, when you actually start thinking, okay, we need to start thinking about sharing from day one, that changes the way you do things. You don't go and hire just a production company because the production company has certain agreements with you. And those agreements do not include stuff like, being able to distribute all this content on the web. So we had to go through with a fine-tooth comb all these different agreements that we had with different production companies, to see, could we actually do this? And what it turned out to be is that we ended up buying consumer HD cameras and doing it ourselves, pretty much. Oh. And that's correct. That's correct. Yeah. It's the Wi-Fi has gone down again. Okay, so the whole point is that we had to come at it from a completely different angle. We couldn't just come at it and just go, let's just do what we normally do. So the whole, so from there, we built the show. The show is mainly interviews because we realized that we couldn't do stuff like soundtracks. Even using some of the software that we had agreements within them that is connecting. Agreements that we couldn't do what we wanted to do with it, which is a real problem. We ended up using a lot of kind of open source software, which is really good. But the end result is, once this loads, there's a 5-minute version, half-an-hour version, and this big asset bundle. The asset bundle is everything that we had, all the video clips that we created. So what people don't realize is that when you put a half-an-hour show out, sometimes there's like 14 hours of video that has been recorded to make that half-an-hour show. What happens usually is that they either end up in two places. They either end up in blooper shows, where people make mistakes, or they end up on the cutting room floor, never to be seen again, or on someone's desk, somewhere. They never get seen again, which is a real shame. So bringing this all together for the public to play with, we felt was quite an interesting idea. Some of the Google, not the sorry. So some of the comments we got back were actually quite encouraging. Go to. Sorry, bear with me. So, Boing Boing is a quite big blog. A lot of people follow. Cory Doctorow is pretty strong about what people should be doing when it comes to copyright materials, and was actually quite upbeat about it all, which is good. Better than him usually shouting at the BBC. Also, that came from Ars Technica, which is here. It should link, and there were some interesting comments back from that. Now, it's gone. The one I wanted to show you though is Torrent Freak. Okay, where's Torrent Freak? There you go. Right, so once the video is video and audio is completely free, and I meant no GeoIP, no DRM, nothing. Just go away, download it, use it for whatever means you have. The only restriction we put on it, we put a license on it, and it was a Creative Commons attribution, non-commercial. We did get beaten up a little bit about the non-commercial, because some people wanted to go commercial with it and build stuff out of it. But generally, we got a lot of comments that said really positive things. Further down here, there's a lot of comments, sorry, but there is some really good comments about the way that businesses should work in this area. There is obviously, one of the things that we always never talk about is piracy, and about some of the good things that work in the scene, as they call it. And so they got kind of already structures and ways of doing things, like the way that things are named, the way things are renamed. So we had a problem where we uploaded a file that was out of date, and we wanted to re-upload it. And so what do? You just stick another version on BitTorrent. Well, that doesn't work. So what you do is you put brackets and put something, I can't remember what the exact term is now, but there's all these kind of procedures that have kind of grown up in the kind of pirate scene that we kind of are ignoring. And so actually, it was a real fascinating insight into this, what goes on and how it all works. And I'll try to find it now somewhere. So actually, there's a bit coming up. So this guy here is talking about how he put it on BitTorrent, because we never put it on BitTorrent. Where's it gone? I cannot find it now. It's a real shame. But it's some really, really good comments there about how we should be distributing our stuff in the future. Now, the problem is also this is a pilot. Now, we are going to create other versions of this. And there has been some comments that the interviews themselves are a little bit dry. They could be a bit better. But I encourage you to download it, try it out yourself, and have a look at it. But this is this attempt of a big corporation to actually do the right thing. And the kind of everyone is in agreement this is a really, really good thing, and they want more and more. So, I mean, you can do experiments like this, or, in your own corporations. You don't have to, if you actually sit down and think about all the stuff that you actually have, all the content and data you may be sitting on, there's some that you could at least experiment with. If you don't experiment and try this stuff out, you're never going to know. You know, the kind of for us now. I can't say about other departments, but there's some departments in the BBC that have seen this experiment, and they want to do this. They want to do some really interesting things. So, for example, radio is one of those kind of areas that it doesn't get such a problem when it comes to kind of copyright. We kind of, you know, some of the songs are a lot older, and we could distribute these songs in ways that you know, we haven't thought about it before, and maybe allow you know, some artists would be happy to allow us to provide remixes of their content, and then for those remixes to kind of come back into the BBC again, and we kind of reuse them. So this is a really good experiment, and I just encourage people just to try it out, see what it's like. Unfortunately, I wish I had my presentation on my laptop, but thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. So it must be hard working with a Mac and not giving your presentation. I looked into the stuff you're doing. I think it's really interesting. I advise everybody to go to backstage.bbc.co.uk, right?
That's right.
And check out what he's doing. It's interesting stuff. I have one question for you, and then we go to the breaks. Do you think that by giving material to the consumers and they can remix their own program, do you think that is also going to be used on real television, or is it just a web thing?
So this is the funny thing, right? Everyone thinks this is kind of completely new. This isn't. What people have been doing for years. If you go to YouTube, for example, people are already downloading TV shows and they're remixing it. The problem is that what happens is you stick it on YouTube, and some copyright owner comes along and goes, "That's our copyright. Don't care what kind of creativity you put into it. That's ours," and take it down. So there's stuff going on all the time. There's a site called Remix Films or something where people are taking films. Like, for example, you take the Matrix trilogy and they've took the whole 6 hours worth and they've compressed it down into an hour and a half. They've got rid of all the rubbish bits and got all these good bits, and it's actually really compelling. The problem is right now is that big corporations are coming on going, "No, that's our copyright," and they don't care what you've done with it. They don't care what effort they've put into it, and that's a mistake. I mean, I think in Lee's presentation talked about how we need to be more open and be more kind of like talking in more of a human voice. We need to look at this stuff and go, actually, okay, you've done something that is technically illegal, but let's have a talk. Let's talk about what you've done and why you wanted to do this. And actually, it's become a very interesting area to grab some of the latest talent across the world. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a break now. Enjoy your coffee, and thank you for being here. Thank you, Ian.